Greetings and welcome to Las Cruces, part number 10. As you have seen at the start of the video, I did some terraforming to make this hill bigger and get more room to work. In previous videos you might remember that there was a small bump over here, and I didn't know what I exactly wanted to do here, but I did know that this part wasn't going to be completely flat. And after completing the spaghetti monster, I thought this hill should be bigger and have more impact on the landscape. And once I started to record this and I started to lay down roads, I had a very clear idea in my mind of how I wanted this place to look like. Since Riverside district, it's a whole residential development and all the houses are looking pretty much the same, with the exception of apartments and commercial areas. I thought it was going to be a nice touch to have something a little bit different, but at the same time that fits really well on the whole theme of this district. And the idea is to have this area to be seen as an old neighborhood that has been on top of this hill for who knows many years, and that has been recently modernized after Riverside district's completion. Well, that's according to the story of the city, because we know that this has not happened yet. And for this reason, the roads that come on top of the hill are not going to be wide like the streets you see on the rest of this district. They are more like alley streets. Since there is no commercial, there's no need for bigger roads, and I thought about placing dirt roads, but they don't look or function well, so it was a bad idea. And I wanted this place to have two main attractions, one being the church on the west side and the other one the botanical garden at the east side. And in between them there will be a linear park that will have tough plants and, you know, ready for that arid environment and high temperatures, and playgrounds for the kids and other kinds of equipment for well, to make it interesting for all kinds of ages, for all kinds of people. And around the park there will be 2x2 square houses, by the way, in the units of the game, because 2x2 square meters or 2x2 feet squares houses are something really extreme, but I can see that happening in some really strange designs in real life. And yeah, anyway, so since this area was very heavy around the idea of this being an old neighborhood, I thought that people that lives here would rather go out for a walk instead of using their car. So I built a lot of pedestrian paths for people to have an easy time to go to the commercial areas on the main streets, and they can also come back on the same way. And this will also attract more people on foot to the main attractions over here, and that will pretty much make traffic a thing of the past. Here you can see that I am laying down the first plants for this custom park. I started off by placing these lines of flowers, purple and blue, to delimit different areas of the park. At this time I didn't really know what to do, so I started to play around with decals again, and I was making these organical shapes with them to create different kinds of clusters of plants. And I also used agaves to make a pattern following the lines of the flowers that I previously placed. From that, everything else started to flow naturally. This was a big area and it was actually really hard to fill with all these empty spaces without making it look repetitive. So I started to use different kinds of plants to make good combinations. In the previous video, I remember that I mentioned that lantana by itself doesn't look great in game, and it doesn't, and because it doesn't have flowers and it just lacks volume. But after playing with it for a while, I thought of getting some wildflowers from the workshop. You can get different colors from it, and you can mix them up with lantanas, and it actually seems to appear that these plants have flowers when they are put together. And to boost the effect, I used the cobblestone decal as the background. So these ground cover plants are not supposed to support traffic, so I just placed them near the pedestrian paths along them, and they are surrounded by trimmed bushes. And the way they look now, it's way better than if they were by their own. So now they seem to have volume and texture, and with the flowers they can be any color, so it's up to anyone. And as I was placing down plants, tables and all that kind of stuff, I tried to imagine how it was going to look on human perspective, since the top view might not look that great. But I was really focusing on the ground view with the church in the back, and to my opinion it was looking good enough. So I just kept adding taller plants and some clusters of rocks to make a good balance between short and tall plants. It's just like the city landscape, too much of the same, it always results in a boring view, and I wanted to avoid that. And I also deleted the palm trees that I placed earlier along the pedestrian paths, because they were feeling out of place, and they were getting too much attention from the eye. So I left the pedestrian paths clean so I could put some lights instead. This part is the church. This is actually my favorite part on this area, and because you get a nice view from the top of this hill, and this is the highest part of this hill where the church is. And I was following the same technique, using lantanas and covering them with flowers to make a nice bed of lantanas. And I was placing these benches and all kinds of decoration to make it look pretty realistic. I also thought it was gonna be a good idea to add some rocks on the side of this pedestrian road, so it will give you kind of a barrier between the cliff and the road. So just details. I was also using this tall grass, and in combination with the lantanas and the flowers, to make it look like this area over here, it's just there, it's been forgotten by humanity, and there's just plants growing on there without control. And over this side, I thought it was gonna be cool to do a pattern of flowers and aloe veras, and as you can see, the result wasn't looking good on grass, but once I placed or painted it with sand, it was looking pretty good actually. And here it's just a matter of filling it with palm trees, and there is the result. As you can tell from the cinematic, and as you can see in the time lapse, I am now paying more attention to this kind of details that I previously have been leaving by the side. And this is because I wasn't really paying attention to lighting, because I thought it was unnecessary. I was just working on the city during the day, and I wasn't really showing what happened during the night. I was just watching sometimes by myself, enjoying the lights. And I think it's a good idea to make this kind of detailing, and it actually makes this kind of places memorable. It actually makes them look unique, and yeah, it's amazing what you can do with little lights like this. Far in the horizon you can see the church over here, and there, far over there, it's the radio station. And we got this view over here where you can see the playgrounds for the kids. This is the church, as I said before, one of my favorite views so far. This is a church, and this is a graveyard, which has another little church, I guess, but it seems like both are part of the same. And on the other side we got the orphan, and it's the orphanage, not the orphan. This is where the orphans go. So I made a little bit more of landscaping over here, and I placed these electric lanes that fit really well with the whole old town theme, and it looks pretty good from the distance like this. I was paying close attention to the lights this time, and you can see there are no dark spots on the gardens that I made, and they are looking pretty good during the night. And here is the view of the main park. You can see that all the pedestrian paths have these lamp posts, and each tree has 2 spots, so they can get light. They can get illuminated during the night, and they don't look bad. They look actually pretty alive during the night. So now hit the play button so we can see that the people uses the pedestrian paths, and it looks a little bit more alive. And as I was saying, this is not precisely the human perspective, but it's pretty close. And I just really like how the radio station, it's there on the back, in the church over here, and we got the botanical garden right there, which also has a lot of lighting work. These are bollards and spots, so it's pretty illuminated during the night. I don't think I show this. So these are another bunch of houses, and a little bit of transition between this old neighborhood towards the more modern place that's gonna be over here. And I wanted to make this look like really rough path, but since it has a pedestrian path, it isn't anymore, so that's it overall. And again, with the view of the church, and yeah, I placed some lights over here, makes the road looks even better. And I think that it's pretty much it. That is it for now, and I hope you have enjoyed. And as usual, thanks for watching, and until next time.